Yes, I'd like to shout out to Don Sinclair and the YouTube channel. Yours truly, Dennis Boval, in a live situation.
Hello and welcome to Don Sinclair Reggae Vibes. I'm your host, Leslie Ann Samuel. We're here today at the YouTube studio with Asher Senator.
Respect.
Welcome, Mr. Senator.
Thank you, thank you.
So what age did you get into music?
I got into music around the age of 13, if I recall rightly. Around the age of 13, when at school, I started secondary school. We moved the area where I lived. I originally lived in an area called Clapham, and due to a mishap with my mother and father, we moved house to more Stockwell. And I attended Stockwell Manor School, and the young people in my estate, which was Lansdowne Green Estate, which is behind Stockwell Station, we formed a sound system. And that's when my love for music really, really just took over my whole life, and it was all about music in a big way.
Yeah. And what inspired you to become the artist that you are today?
People inspired me, because really I know that if I do something and someone says I don't like that, and then I go to someone else and they say I don't like that, by the third, fourth person I'm not doing that anymore, I'm doing something else. And then when people say, yeah, I like that was good, I like that, and that's what encouraged me to become the artist I am today, to continue. Because sometimes in life a lot of challenges arise and you feel like giving up, or you do give up. A lot of people give up, but when you've got that special person or people in your life, or others that say that was really good, please do that again next week or whatever. So I believe that's what encouraged me.
Yeah, having a good supportive unit around you.
Good supportive unit, and also that's it. Good supportive unit.
Yeah. What was the first single you brought?
The first single I bought.
Yeah.
I can't recall which was the first single. I think it was Running Up and Down Won't Help in This Time by Dennis Brown. But I do recall the first album I bought, which was Burning Spear, Man in the Hills.
Okay.
And all my family was soul music orientated, and them days you call them soul heads.
Yeah.
So all my family was soul heads, and they was so shocked when I came home with Man in the Hills, Burning Spear, Rastating. Sin came home, I couldn't believe that album, Man in the Hills shall do. I couldn't believe it, so I played that. My mum was like, boy, you lose your mind. And, but this is what it was. I was so fascinated by that hard reggae roots, and that was my first real album, Man in the Hills, Burning Spear.
Yeah. What's your favourite album by another artist other than yourself?
Oh, it goes on. It ranges from where I started in reggae, so from Dennis Brown's original albums with songs on there like Here I Come and stuff before that, like Here I Come. Those albums they're my favourite albums. Also, as I moved and developed in music and started listening to a range of music, things like Marvin Gaye and Diana Ross, that album is untouchable.
Definitely, yeah.
My gosh, and so on, and coming up, then people came into the equation like Tupac, and these guys were just incredible, incredible musicians, rappers, whatever you want to call them, but the music they delivered, and so on. And then as you move up, then you had great people again like Capleton, Sizzler, do you know what I mean? And their albums, they're really incredible. Yeah.
I was a big Tupac fan, and I still am.
Amazing talent.
What artists do you like, and would you like to work with?
I like a range of artists, and I really do like a range of artists. So Dennis Brown was my hero, all-time hero. So I would have worked with Dennis Brown. You wouldn't have to ask me twice. I would have worked with Dennis Brown. Him singing a vocal and I just coming in on the ragga part. There's quite a few artists that I would love to work with that's here today. Capleton, as we mentioned him before, I would work with Capleton. Singing wise, there's a range of artists that I'd love to work with. Even over here, Peter Huntingale. Yeah. Great singers like Peter Huntingale, I'd work with Peter all day long, he's
great music, yeah.
Great.
And where was the last event you played at?
Last event I played at was in Birmingham, which was a month ago, and Nation of Islam asked me to do a performance at their show. Usually they ask me to come and perform there because I write a cultural range of lyrics also, which tells the truth and history of how we grew and my studies. So Nation of Islam, every event they keep, they ask me to perform at, and I go there and I do a cappellas and I do a couple of rhythm tracks. So that was the last one. And before that, in terms of a general show, was in Poland. Yeah, Poland recently, yeah.
Oh, that's
which
nice.
was amazing.
That's lovely. How did the Polish respond to your reggae vibes?
Amazing. It was amazing. It was just Screechy and I, and a young man travelled 300 kilometres with my old album, Johnny Ringo and Asher Senator, for me to sign it, 300
That's
kilometres.
lovely. Yeah.
The guy who interviewed me after the show asked me about my original sound system, Buchanan, which was just unheard of. How do you know these things? So yeah, Poland really tap into reggae in
That's
a
really
massive
good.
way.
That's a true fan right there. Yeah.
Amazing.
What has been the best moment in your career?
Hey, my best moment has to be, I'm going to give you a couple then, because moments are moments for the moment, you know what I mean? And the first moment was my very first kick up in a house dance on Acre Lane, and the house was full, and I'd chat on Johnny Osborne's rhythm, water more than flower. And he said, man can't mind them, baby mother. And I took those two lines and I added the line at the end when I was chatting on the version, and I added through the works of Margaret Thatcher, and the whole house shook with, I thought it was a fight at first and like, what's happening? And then I realised, wow, they're cheering for what I just said. The next special moment was at Riverdale on the 15th of April, 1984, Saxon DJ extravaganza, and I drew the lyrics called Bum Bum, 7 million, the biggest robbery in England. I think there was about 2 to 3 days before a robbery had happened. It was the biggest robbery, and I just couldn't resist writing about it. And I drawed it 3 days later at this place, and it was just incredible feedback. That appreciation went from my toes right through my whole body, through my head. That made me say to myself, I'm a DJ. No, I'm a DJ, real. So they're big moments. And one more moment.
Yeah.
In Latvia, Moscow, Russia, and I'd done 2 shows, Friday and Saturday, and they were so happy with the shows that they begged me to stay on the Sunday, and the Sunday was my birthday, the 15th of December, and there was no way I was going to stay. They put the money up, they put all that, so what they planned was the Saturday night, they planned for the whole of the crowd to sing in English to me and stuff. And
that's lovely.
And I ended up staying, and that moment stuck with me, yeah.
Well, it's nice. It's nice to feel appreciated for all the work that you've put in.
Definitely.
Describe your music. How would you describe your music?
My music's informative, messenger style, you know what I mean? My music's always got a message in it. If I don't have a message in my music somehow, it feels like I haven't done right. It feels like I've done stupidness, or I haven't performed, you know. To consider, the first lyrics I wrote was the dog chase a cat and the cat chase a mouse, and the mouse packing things I leave out the house came my peaceful mouse. You know what I mean? Considering from where I came from that first lyrics, to saying, no, I've got to write more conscious, and I've got to write things that mean things. So if I write about the car, you know what I mean, I'm going to write about the car. I'm not going to write 2 pieces about the car and then chat about something else. I'm going to write about the car, and I'm going to write about it in a way where even a car mechanic has to say, yeah, that's the car, you know what I mean? And so on. So are very informative lyrics, informative and teaching, educational.
I love that. For me, a true artist is teaching and educating society through their music, through their art, through their creativity.
I believe that. And why I say that is because Dennis Brown, whatever that he said, I was going to do. If he said running up and down won't help in this time, I said, right, running up and down won't help in this time. We all got to be positive. I got to be positive in my mind.
That's right, yeah.
So when you've got idols like that, so young people who's got idols who says things like, kill that boy there and murder that boy there.
Oh, I don't like
but
that.
But he's got an idol. If that's a young person's idol, it doesn't matter what he says. It's gospel, because that's how powerful music is. It's the most powerful thing on earth that is brought by humans, that everyone can relate to, and everyone, it moves someone in some form or another.
Definitely. I love Bob Marley, and his music, every time I put it on in my car, his music moves me. And it makes me feel a sense of peace as well when I listen to it.
It's beautiful.
You know?
There was a study, when I was doing some research, and there was a study saying what music relaxes people the most. And they had opera and all these music. And Bob Marley's music was the music that relaxed people most.
You see?
In this study, it was like amazing.
You see, you heard that here, so get Bob Marley.
Amazing.
Name 3 artists you'd like to be compared to.
There's no comparison. Selector me are the number one. Any women wash up the land. No, I wouldn't like to compare with no artist really, because no, I wouldn't like to compare with any artist. The thing about me is I respect a lot of artists. I respect many artists. I really do. When we first started coming in this, Smiley and me and Peter King, Mikey and Fox, you know, when we was coming up in this, we went to every show you can imagine. If there was a show, we was going there, and we'd watch artists from little to big to this to that. I'd watch every artist, and I just like to learn from artists and see what they do and think, that was funny, that was really good. And so I wouldn't like to be compared with any, because I'm many artists in one, I think.
I like that answer. Name your top 3 genres of music.
Obviously, reggae.
Yeah.
Then it's got to be hip hop, because there's some good hip hop, you know. There's some real hip hop, you know. It's a ground music, isn't it? It's real. And what would be my third? You know, it's similar to that really. It's R&B, soul, and that. Yeah. Ballads and all that. Lovey-dovey stuff.
Well, we love a bit of lovey-dovey music. Professionally, what's your goal?
My goal is to be a very successful company owner, business owner, with a very successful company all over the world, helping young people to aspire to their dreams of being within the music industry, whether it be an artist or whether it be a manager, a publisher, a lawyer, a distributor, whatever their goal takes, but to show them the broad range of what we do, the multimedia industry. And I'd like to be an entrepreneur in that. I think I'm that, but not at the scale where I want to be or need to be to have the impact that I really think I've got to have on this earth before I leave the physical side.
So you think you're here to do a good work,
yeah,
to help educate the people?
Definitely, because until I started doing certain things, I didn't realise how important things were, how sometimes, you know, people think, a pound makes you smile. But when someone comes up and says, yo, Asha, and you don't know him from somewhere, and he says, you saved my life when you used to DJ back in the day. I've got a son growing up in Stockwell Park Estate and he's 16. I want to know how you're going to save his life. And from a man could put trust in you, you've never met him, he used to listen to my lyrics and said, I saved his life. And now he's an old man, he's got older man, and he's got a young person, and he knows I'm running a company for young people, and he asks, how am I going to save his son's life? Those sort of things that money can't really buy.
Definitely, I agree with you there, 110%. What job have you done other than being an artist?
I've done a few things. When I got fed up of because in England, what we tend to find is hard to generate any income out of music. You get a stage, if you're really popular, you get a stage in reggae where you can make money, and mostly the money's being made via live shows. So there comes a time where money's not really running. So most artists in England that I know have had to do something else within the time of their span if you want to succeed or be or live. So basically, I tried a range of different stuff. You know, I could not leave school fast enough. When I left school, it was just straight to my sound system. College, where are you? Which college? There's my college, Buchanan Sound System. My college, my university. My teachers were in there, jokes, you know what I mean, and people like this, you know, and that grew me and taught me to become somebody. And then later on in life, I went to college and I got my teacher training, my ILM management and my conflict resolution from the Deputy Prime Minister's office, and made sure I went in and got the qualifications I needed to make my company be what it is, to inspire other workers with me. So yeah, I've tried other things, but one of the things I will say that I tried was selling cars. Yeah. And I tried selling cars, and there was about 23 people. I saw the ad and I went for it, and it said your own car and all this, so I could park up my Mercedes for a while and drive another car. But things were not happening for me money wise, and I sold cars for a while, wearing my suits every day. I started buying different suits, and I'd wear my suits every day, and it was amazing because this is some people's profession and they love it and this is what they do. But I always had this thing in me like, I can't do this. And I'd sell a car and I get my percentage and things are okay, and I've got a company car and things are okay, and I'm dressing nice every day and things are okay. And this guy came in one day and said, he was in the car parts section, and he came over and he said, I've done some research on you. You're Asher Senator. You spar with Smiley Culture. He said, why are you here? You know what I mean? I said, things ain't what they seem outside. And he's like, no. Why are you here? And I said, money, really, because, you know, and he said, so if you had money, wouldn't you make more money out of music more than being a car salesman? I said, maybe. And he said, I'm going to bring someone to see you. He brought a guy to see me, and this guy invested $5,000. He said, I played him a track that I'd done, and he said, I don't know about music, but I'll call you later. And he called later and he said, I've got £5,000 for you, draw up a contract, I want to invest in that track. And I left the car showroom and got back into my company and then back into music. So, yeah, so I tried other things, but it just seems to drag me back in one way or another.
It keeps calling you back. It keeps calling you back. That's your mission.
Yeah.
Describe a real life situation that inspired you.
Inspired me?
Musically.
Oh, phew. A real life situation that inspired me musically. It's a bit different. It's nothing much, but we went to Run the MC when they first came over.
Okay.
And we were amazed at the things they could say to the crowd, because them times we didn't say certain things to the crowd and you couldn't say certain things, and what you can make the crowd do. And this was in Hammersmith, in the Odeon, so, you know, it's a ram-packed balcony, audience is massive.
Yeah, I remember there.
And oh my gosh, and for Run the MC to say, hold on, stop the music, and it stopped, and we're watching, we're saying, what are they going to do? Because when fresh artists ourselves come in, you know what I mean, and they said, there's a man round that side saying that we have to leave and go home now, and the crowd's like, no, boo. And I said, okay, everyone put your right hand in the air, and everyone put their right hand in the air, and I said, point over to the side where the man's standing behind there, and everyone in the club, everyone pointed, and they said, now say, few. And the whole crowd, this time I didn't know someone could make the whole crowd swear. And the whole crowd swore like F you. And then he said, we ain't going no place. I said, we ain't going no place. Run the MC came out, they threw water on the crowd. I said, you can't do that to people. We wasn't used to that sort of environment, and that taught me a lot, and that inspired me to do those things on shows. When I was in French Guiana, I threw water on the crowd. I've told many a crowd that there's someone that wants me to go now, put your right hand in the air and point over there.
So you were copying.
Yeah, I took that stuff and developed it and put another element to it, and always broaden on what we learn. But that's the music industry in itself, even down to a key, to a note. You know what I mean? How many keys on a keyboard? Don Sinclair, how many keys on a keyboard? 52? What? How many ever? There's only that much. And how long has the keyboard been around? There's every riff that's been on there has been played. You know what I mean? In one way or another. But it comes back round and it goes round and it goes round. That's the world, what it is. You know what I mean? What is was and what was is.
I like that. If you could go back in time, what would you do differently? If anything?
I'd work harder. I know I'd slacked a bit on certain things, and now I've got young people around me, and now I could tell them, like, work harder, don't ramp, you know what I mean? While you're talking to me, how you're going to be this and you're going to be that, there's someone rehearsing right now. While you're talking to me, there's someone writing the lyrics right. While you're doing, you know what I mean? There's someone phoning somebody right now trying to sell themselves. So I would work harder, definitely. I would have worked harder on me and been a bit more strategic in my planning and made myself be like a millionaire by now, like through my music, like Puff Daddy and them. I would have worked it and done it, whether it was reggae or what, and that's what I would have done different, worked harder in a strategic way.
Okay. What do you do in your spare time?
My spare time nowadays, because I'm at the age I'm at now, I watch football. I don't play it anymore.
Who do you support?
If I say that, I'll lose some fans. So
okay. You know all right, that's true. That's true.
I mean, and I'm not even going to big up that team anyway. Liberties. But anyway, they're Liberties. Yeah, they are. So, yeah, but I love football. I watch football for people, for players, great players, you know. Messi, Ronaldo, you know what I mean, Adebayo when he was great, you know, and these people. So football really inspires me. And this, the only thing, I have to tell you, it's the only thing that takes my mind off my job, my multimedia agency that we run, the charity for young people. We get a lot of youths that people say are gang affiliated, and you know it's 10 times a day you're doing the same thing, repeating the same thing, don't do. So sometimes it's really stressful. It's not even a play, it's over stressful. Football, sometimes I watch a game of football and I forget till after the game. I say, oh yeah, I got to sort all that out. So football that really takes my mind away from stuff.
Good. What's the first song you ever remember hearing?
Tell Laura I love her. Tell Laura I need her. Tell Laura not to cry. My love for her will never die. And I went to primary school and sang that to a girl.
Oh, good on you.
That's why I never forget it, you get me? I don't even know who sang it. Does anyone know who sang that? Does anyone know? You don't know? I'm the oldest one in here, man. Michael, you must know, man. Come on. It's one of those pop tunes, because you know we grew on pop, innit? When I grew up, we grew up in the times when we didn't have a toaster, and we used to do our toast. You know the heaters on the wall with the grill? With
I wasn't. I probably
you don't
wasn't
know.
born
We used to
then.
have heaters on the wall, electric heaters. You turn them on, and it's got the bars there and the bars on top. So it's got the and the bars on top, and we used to put the toast and hold the toast on there, the bread on there, and toast it, turn it round and hold it with something and toast the bread like that. That's where I'm coming from. Paraffin, where mum used to say, go and get the paraffin. I used to go and get I walked far with the paraffin, it's cutting in my hands. You know, that's where we're coming from, them times there. So it's you know, that's the energies.
What song of yours are you most proud of, and why?
Do you know, it's funny, you know, there's some, you know, Smiley had Police Officer, and it was a massive tune. You know, everyone knew it was going to be massive, and it was massive. It was a really big tune. And I always worked to have a tune as big or bigger than that. That's why when we was working and sparring together, I always said, I'm going to get my hit tune, I'm going to get my big tune. I had hits in Italy, I've had hits here, I've had hits in different countries and stuff, hits here. And I have to be honest with you, when tunes come out, and to me they lose value. If it's not a massive hit, to me it loses value. So it's nothing that you would have heard or anyone would have heard. My favourite tunes and what I'm proud of are tunes people ain't heard. Only friends, close friends like Peter King and people like that have heard the tunes that I'm most proud of. And you know, there's one right now, and people saying, you know, that I've got that people wouldn't even believe it's me, that says, good loving she want, good loving she need, and these sort of tunes. And I play that, and because I'm doing a different flavour and singing, I love playing it, and it sounds good, but I'm scared to put it out because it'll lose value. If it doesn't do 500,000 copies, it's like, what?
What genre of music can't you stand to listen to?
I love all music, I really do. But as I tend to know, as I'm getting older, I know, say, the louder the music, like, it's got to have meaning and sense. I've been to some gigs, we done some rock gigs, and I never heard music so loud in my life. And the music was loud, but there's no genre that I don't like. It's just how it's delivered sometimes. It might affect me, but other than that, it doesn't matter, because I'm lyrical, and I'd ride that. I'd ride that. If it's 3/3 timing or 4/4 timing, I'll still ride it.
What else can we expect from you in the future? Musically.
I really want to produce my album with name brands like Matthew and Flux, Sly and Robbie, people I've worked with in the past, but I want to generate something back, people like Peter Huntingale and stuff, and generate, and I want to release an album, Asher Senator, you know what I mean, says yo again, you know what I mean, something, but an album of my choice, what I like, what I want to do with real classy musicians and stuff, real entertaining, educational, uplifting album, yeah.
If you could give advice to up-and-coming artists or people starting off in the music industry, what would that be?
I think it goes back to what I was saying. I'd ask them, I'd just give them advice to, as I said, work hard, but work hard strategically. Don't just work hard, because that don't make it. But if you work hard strategically, you'll be successful. Don't give up, you know what I mean? But if people are telling you you're not good, and it's a lot of people, you know what I mean? go another avenue, find another route, find another way. You know what I mean? My mum always used to say, sometimes you got to move backwards to move forwards. And I never used to say, no, I'm not moving back. Like, in other words, let that car go. If they're hunting down the car and you can't pay for it, get them back the car. And then you hide in the car and everything. No, they're not getting the car, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, no, but mum said, sometimes you got to step back to move forward. You make them take that car, then all of a sudden, boom, something happens. You've got a big show going on. You make a range of money, you buy a lovely car, all paid for cash. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, that's the energy.
How do you balance your music with other obligations?
Great difficulty at the moment. Great difficulty. Because when I started Code 7, the charity for young people, the multimedia charity, I had now moved away from music entirely. I wouldn't even listen to my own lyrics. I wouldn't even think. And so all my skills in lyrical writing was now writing business plans, funding applications, evaluations, monitoring documents and stuff like that. And basically, I weren't writing lyrics anymore. And so all my skills were transferred into plan writing, as I said. That was the difficult part when, about 2 years ago, a young lady by the name of Jane B. from Germany hunted me down and said, there's a company called Jatari that would like to record you in Germany, send some tracks over. In fact, they've done a remix on one of my old tracks called To Who Respect Is Due on Fashion Records. And I said, yeah, that's nice. It felt kind of good to say, wow, 30 years later, someone wants to hear my old lyrics. I said, are you serious? Cool, yeah, do it, man. Nice. And they gave me a little money up front. I said, whatever. And I was doing it. So then that little whatever turned into, they started contacting me on a frequent and on a regular, and then I started voicing another track, then dub plates started coming in, then shows started coming in, and then it comes to the stage where, and so Peter King and I was doing the first show, and I remember we'd done the first show in Grenoble or somewhere, I don't know if it's Grenoble, one of them places, and King's namming up the rhythm, you know, and I'm looking at him on stage, and my hands on, and I'm looking at King saying, how can you do that 30 years later? How are you doing this? And I said, no, you know what? I said to him on the plane, you watch my next show, So I actually disregarded some of my stuff, my hard work that I have to do, the plans and time. I even missed some time scales. I missed some funding applications because of lyrics. I missed some things that affected my company and people around me because I had to do that lyrics. And the thing about lyrics is, and music, it's the biggest inspiration, as we spoke about earlier. So I was entirely inspired straight away. If I have to write a lyrics, if I know I've got a plan there to write and a lyrics here to write, the chances are I have to really force myself and look at the reality and say, I've got to finish this plan. Because music, I'd write that all day long. I'd do it all day long. I'd sit there doing it all day long. If someone paid me to do music or plans, I'd sit there and do music because this is what we are and that's what we do. But it's really hard at the moment, making sure I've got at least, I always make sure I've got 10 to 15, 20 lyrics ready at all times, no matter what now. And that is very difficult with timelines and deadlines with a charity. It's very difficult. And I'm at that stage where, what shall I do? Shall I, do this album and then just concentrate back on really making our company a real major worldwide company?
Do you have a message for Don Sinclair Reggae Vibes about the work he's doing for artists?
Yes, Don. Respect I like a mountain and flow like a fountain. Expensive like the pounding. You know what I mean? So, yeah, Don, enough respect. Just Screechy told me he came on there, and when Just Screechy said he told Don Sinclair about me, and he said, tap it in, I had a look, and I thought, excellent, Don. Congratulations. We spoke just before we came in for the interview, and Don showed me how hard it is and the effort he's putting in and the team are putting in to make this happen. It's fantastic. I just say congratulations and that same thing, keep going because, everywhere I've gone, I've watched quite a few interviews now. I've watched Just Screechy's interview, Coxsone's interview, Tipper's interview, and I just have to say congratulations, Don. You're tapping into some fields what people might forget, but you're bringing back the industry, you're bringing back the sound system, and Don, anything you need, any help you need from us, you got that. And I would really like him to associate with what we're doing down at Code 7 so the young people can see there's something to aspire to.
Definitely. You heard it here first. On behalf of myself and Don Sinclair, would like to thank you for tuning in. I'm your host, Leslie Ann Samuel.